Nkwaniriza natera ku BBS Terefayina akawungeza akolwalero tuli mu program ensi ekula era nga tuli mu Johnes Vocational Institute wano Egoma musazalya Ssaabasajja Kabaka ery'Ekyagwe tuzze okusinkana abamu ku bakugu essomero lino berifuna okuva mu mawanga ag'ebweru okujja okuyambako okuimprovinga oba okukyusa abaana bano ebintu bye bakola era nga ne ku munuuli guno bayina abakugu okuva e Germany bwe tuba twogera ku masomo ag'ebyemikono erimu ku ggwanga eryogerwako ennyo ly'eggwanga erya Germany mu masomo gano ag'ebyemikono tuzze okusinkana ku bantu bano era tugenda kwogera n'omu ku bakugu abazze mu ssomero lino okwogerako n'abayizi.
Yes, I'm Joshua Pilatzik. I'm from Germany.
You're from Germany. What is your area of specialization?
My area of specialization is in the hospitality industry, especially restaurants, beer, and also hotel management.
Okay. Why did you choose such a vocation?
Well, it's in the family. I come out of a restaurant-owning family. We have a brewery, a restaurant, and so I always worked there since my childhood. And when it came to the time to choose my vocation, I chose the vocation I always did my whole life.
Then why did you accept to do what is already in the family to go for training? Because you grew up knowing
Yes. Because if you grow up knowing something or always work at the same place, you start to get into repeating schemes, and when you never learn something new, you start to become lazy, and so you always have to go somewhere else, learn something new. And the vocational training was exactly that. They gave me the basis to build on and to learn more, because I only knew what was going on at home in the restaurant, but not in the whole industry as a whole, you know?
Okay. How have you found the vocation?
How I found it? Well, there was a few things I already knew, so sometimes it was a little bit boring, but most of the time, was like, oh, so that's how you would normally do it if you're not. So it was quite a nice experience, actually. I've learned a lot, and I think I'm way better skilled than before. And it, as I already said, it laid the basis where I built all my career on.
Is the vocational training free in Germany?
Yes, in Germany most education is free, even at universities, and the same thing is for vocation. Vocation is also based on being in a company. You work for a company while you have vocational training, and therefore you are paid for vocation. It's not that it is free, you are also paid for it.
Okay, and so how do they perceive it? Because in Uganda we have free primary education, but people take it reluctantly because they think it is a president's initiative, it's not theirs. So how do Germans take this free vocational training?
Yeah, it depends. It really depends. A lot of people can honor what is given to them, but as in every society, there are also people who think, oh, because it's free, because I don't have to pay for it, it's not worth anything, right? So a few people, they only do it because their parents want it, or because it is told to them by society, you should have a vocational training, you should do something with your life. But most people, most of society, they respect that we pay taxes to get free vocational and normal education. So I guess it's really well received, but it took time.
Okay. What are the most emphasized vocational areas by the government?
The government itself, we have a lot of vocational trainings. We have 320 or something officially recognized vocational training courses. So there's a lot of specialization. And the current emphasis that the government gives is more on further specializing some of them. So if there's a need by the economy, by some companies, they further specialize these 320. But there's no like, oh, you should do this or this. The government is more like, we have all of these for you. The companies, they will hire you and then they will give you your vocational training. So it's the choice of what is emphasized is given to the economy, to the companies, and it's not set by the government. The government just says these are the standards we want. What you do with them, that's the choice of the companies that are giving you the vocational training.
Okay. You say as a family you own a restaurant?
Yes.
how do you run the restaurant as a family?
Well, it's quite an old house. We have this year 600 years of history on our house and our brewery. And my parents, they own the restaurant. They got it from the parents of my mother, and they own it now for 25 years almost. And we are running it as practical owners. So we are always within the company. We are always working with our staff. We are not sitting in some back office and managing everything from there, but we are more practical people. So we are more in the restaurant. We are more there for our customers. So our customers see us and know who we are and who we are buying from.
Okay. The most pressing issue in Uganda is taxes. The government is encouraging vocational education or training, and the same government is highly taxing these institutions. How is it in Germany?
Well, as in Germany, you have the dual system. So you have the company who does the practical training and pays the vocational trainee, and you have the schools which are funded by the government and are free for the company and free for the vocational trainee. And so they don't tax the schools because they are funding them themselves. And the companies, of course, they tax them, but they tax them on their winnings. So it's mostly accepted. Of course, it's like everywhere in the world, nobody likes taxes, right? But I think if the taxes are for things like education, and we know they are for that, we get something for them, we are more easy to accept them. It's more easy for us to accept them.
At what level did you start vocational training?
Yes.
At what age?
I started my vocational training at 20 years old because I did A-levels, what you call here A-levels. In Germany it's Abitur. So I did first my high school degree, and afterwards I started my vocational training. So I started pretty late. Most people start with between the age of 14 and 17 in Germany.
In Uganda, when someone has a degree, to go for vocational, they look at you as a failure. Then still, when you go for vocational education, it is regarded as an area for failures. How is it in Germany?
Yeah, but we have the same problem. People, especially people whose parents already have a degree, the parents are like, nah, you are also doing a degree and not going for vocational training because it's not worth anything. You're not going to get enough money from it. But it's starting to change because in the last years, a lot of academics, they didn't find good jobs anymore. And so it changes a lot that vocational training skills, practical skills, they are more valued nowadays and they begin to get more and more value. So it's overall accepted in the society. It's no longer what it was a few years ago where you were like, oh, you're doing vocational training, you must be dumb. But no, it's no longer that way. Okay. Fortunately.
Yeah. At Johnes, there are courses like plumbing, cookery, and so on.
Yeah.
Can you give us some courses, name us some courses in Germany offered?
Yes. So, for example, you have in Uganda, you have the National Hotel Certificate.
Yes.
In Germany, these are 5 different vocational trainings. There is a cook, that is one. Then you have restaurant specialist, you have hotel specialist, you have baker, and you have pastry. So these are 5 different vocational trainings, each requiring 3 years of training and education. So it's a lot more specialized.
Okay. At what level is vocational recommended for? Is it after, like in Uganda, after senior 4, that is O level, then after A level? And we have an area of those who have not gone totally to school, but they come and get skills, then they are awarded certificate. Is it the same in Germany?
Well, in Germany it is required for every child to go to school for at least 10 years.
Okay.
They have to do that. That's mandatory. It's paid by government, but it's mandatory. You get a lot of problems if you don't do it, if you don't send your child to education. And after these 10 years, no matter if they did anything, if they did O levels, it's wonderful. But if they didn't get them, if they just stopped going to school, they can still go for vocational training. So there is no limit from the government when you can do vocational training. The limit are the companies, because for vocational training, you need to be hired by a company who says, oh, I want you and I want you to train a vocation for me. And the companies then set the standards. And so, yeah, usually for most specializations, the companies want you to have at least O levels.
Okay. You seem to have the passion for vocational training and skills.
Yes.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years with such skills?
Well, I plan to take over the company of my parents in about 4 years. And because we have a lot of trainees in our company, we have 10 trainees. I know that it's one of my most important things to train the next generation of my employees. Because if I train them myself, they know my company by heart, and they are way better than someone I take from the outside. So that's why it's extremely important for me to have good vocational training in my company. And therefore I'm extremely passionate for vocational training overall. Because if every vocational training improves for earn money later on for me.
Okay. What is your advice to the Ugandan government or to the Ministry of Education in Uganda in regard to vocational training?
Yes. So vocational training here in Uganda, it's just starting, right?
Yeah.
So there, for example, the national certificate, it has a lot of areas that they have to cover, a lot of knowledge they need to know. And therefore, it might be that they lose a lot of that knowledge right after the certificate. And because it's in such a short amount of time. And so my two most recommendations were, number one, maybe a little bit more time. Because 2 years, that's extremely short amount of time. I know it's expensive to train them, so you don't want to do it too long. But maybe half a year more would help a lot out to get the students to a level where they will keep the knowledge. And the second thing is, there should be some practical training required to do the certificate. So, because it's good if you are in school, you have practicals in school, but they never mirror what you will do in the outside perfectly. If you never have seen a kitchen, a real kitchen in a hotel, for example, from the inside, and only trained in a vocational institute, you might be overwhelmed when you come there after your vocational training. Therefore, there always should be at least a few weeks of real-world training in each semester, for example.
Okay.
That were the two recommendations I would have.
Okay. What is your advice to a Ugandan youth today thinking that vocational education is not good?
I think the most important thing to remember is that even though everything around us seems so overwhelming and like there's nothing to go for, yeah, we have to remember that it is our world to create, our world to form. And we need to, especially if we are so many like here in Uganda, we have the power to form our environment, but we need knowledge for that. We need skills for that. And so it's extremely important we can have in life is to improve for the next ones, because they will have it better than us, and the ones after that will have it even better. And that's the only way forward. I'm with a program, it's from SES, it's a German institution that is Senior Expert Service Foundation, a German foundation, that is the in-between, the middleman between senior experts, like Mr. Tremper, Mr. Gerd, and people all over the world, maybe companies or institutes like this, or schools, or everything else. And they come to the representatives of SES in the country and say, hey, we would like to get some experts for whatever. For, in our case, catering and baking. And so Johnes Vocational Institute asked them, SES, and SES asked Mr. Tremper, and Mr. Tremper asked me if I want to be his adjutant here and help him here to further give my knowledge. I think the students, like it's almost most of them, right? It's in Germany the same. Most of them are extremely interested in and extremely passionate about their future. And I found that if you give them the right tools to learn, they're extremely interested in learning. And I'm very proud of that, to see that, because sometimes you are told, yeah, young people, they are no longer interested in the world. They're no longer interested in learning new things. They're just on your phones or whatever, or doing stupid stuff. No. And seeing them wanting to learn, seeing them being excited for vocational training, that made me very happy, because I saw a future in them. I saw that they will have the knowledge and will have the skills to form their environment.
Okay. What of the administration? How have you found the administration?
Well, they are very passionate about training their youth, and even though they have limited resources, they are trying their best to give the students everything they have. And the way that they are not perfect, nobody is, but they are extremely interested in getting better. And that's the most important thing. It's not being perfect, it's wanting to be better and the inner power to go there. Yeah. And I found them very interesting in everything we told them, everything we showed them. And I'm positive that we left the mark and that they will improve.
Okay. You, in Germany, the family has a restaurant and you are very passionate to take over the development of the restaurant that has run for over 25 years. In Uganda, it's very different. A parent who has a restaurant doesn't want his or her children to take over the same job. What is your advice to such families in Uganda?
Well, the thing is, if you are proud about what you're doing, yeah, then you want to give it to your children, then that's important. If you don't want to give what you're doing to your children, ask yourself why you're doing it then. Because you are building that not only for yourself, you're building your company not only for yourself but for your children. You always have to think about the next generation if you're building a company. And if you're just building a company or building your restaurant for your own, then that's okay. And then they probably think, okay, I don't want to give that to my children, but then you're giving a lot of your power and a lot of your time to something that will just die off when you are gone. So what have you left? What have you given to Uganda? What have you given to your next generation? That's then the question.
Okay.
So try to be proud about what you do. Try to give your children the pride you have so that they not only want to, but can have something from you and from your company you built.
Okay. In Uganda, we have a challenge. We don't have vocational teachers.
Yeah.
How is it in Germany?
Well, we are lucky that we are doing vocational training for a long time now. Since Second World War, we are extremely passionate about vocational training, and it's because it's state-sponsored. We had a lot of time to get a teacher base. But yeah, we have enough teachers. We are, well, at least in vocational training. And we now have a problem with primary and secondary schools. They don't have enough teachers right now, but that's another story. That's a failure of management from our government.
Thank you very much, Joshua.
No problem. Thank you very much for having the interview and being interested in our story.
Oyo muyizi era nga avira ddala mu ggwanga erya Germany bali wano ku St. Johnes nga bazze nga ba voluntary services overseas. Atugambye nti balina ekitongole ewaabwe foundation eyo gye batuukirira ne babajjayo ne bajja okusobola okuyambako. Atunyonyodde n'atugamba nti ye muyizi ddala kubanga yasoma n'afuna ne degree naye bwamala okufuna degree ewaka nga mu maka gaabwe balina restaurant eya family. Restaurant eno ebaddewo okumala emyaka 25. Yatandikibwa bajjajjaabe ne bagivaamu erimu bakadde be kati era naye ayagala mu myaka ng'ena 5 okutwala restaurant eno mu maaso. Atugambye nti mu Germany okusoma vocational kwa bwerere era gavumenti ekussaamu ssente era n'abasomesa bonna gavumenti ebayamba obatendeka. Atunyonye n'atugamba nti okuva mu lutalo mu ssematalo wa 1945 Germany yenyigira nnyo mu kusomesa amasomo ag'ebyemikono kubanga bakizuula nti yembeera yokka eyali esobola okubazza engulu naye obutaawukanako nga ne Uganda era atugambye ne mu Germany amasomo ag'ebyemikono bagatunuulira kiziimuziimu nti abazadde abaasoma ennyo ne balina zi degree zaabwe bwe batunuulira amasomo gano batunuulira omwana nga atagenda kukifunamu kubanga bo basoma ne bafuna zi degree. Wabula gavumenti egezaako nnyo okulaba nga amasomo gano egawa amaanyi egawa omuzinzi n'abantu okugaagala basobole okugasoma era agenze maaso n'atunnyonnyola nti bo mu Germany bagenda okumala okusoma bafuna emirimu era emirimu gino basasulwa kyekyo nno nakyo kibongeramu amaanyi okulaba nga basoma. Atunyonyodde n'atugamba nti Uganda nga bweyina eggwanga ebaana abato ennyo kyalibadde kya mugaso nnyo abavubuka okwenyigira ennyo mu masomo ag'ebyemikono. Lwaki? Ti amasomo ag'ebyemikono gano kye kimu ku kiyinza okuyamba eggwanga etto nga liina abantu abato okusobola okusoma emirimu bagyetandikirewo. Agambye ekizibu ky'abasomesa nabo basooka ne bakifuna nga bakava mu ssematalo owokubiri, naye gavumenti yakirwanyisa era abasomesa olwaleero babalina. Atunyonyodde n'atugamba nti ebbanga lyamaze mu ssomero lino erya St. Johnes akizudde nga abayizi baagala nnyo era tasanze buzibu na kuyamba abayizi be baamukwasa okuyamba. Wabula n'agamba nti abazadde mufube nnyo okwagaza abaana ebintu bye musomye era mwagaze nnyo abaana mutandikeewo emirimu egyo mugifuule egya famire, nti mmwe bwe muvaawo abaana abo nga bagenda kibayamba. Ekyo nno kye kimu kubiyinza okulwanyisa ebbula ly'emirimu mu ggwanga Uganda. Atunyonyodde nti abakulembeze b'ettendekero lino erya St. Johnes abasanze nga bangu bafuba mu mbeera yonna okulaba nga bassaawo ebikozesebwa abayizi basobole okufuna ebyo bye beetaaga mu nsi. Amaliriza nga atugamba nti ye akubiriza abavubuka, akubiriza gavumenti ya Uganda okuyambako okulaba nga amatendekero gano gafuna ebintu ebisobola okuyamba abavubuka. Mubuuzizza ku ky'omusolo n'agamba ewaabwe ebintu tebigibwako musolo, n'agamba olw'okuba tebigibwako musolo kiyamba abantu okubikola mu budde bwonna bwe beetaaga. Oli ku BBS Terefayina mu programu ensi ekula nga tuli ku Johnes Vocational Institute. Essomero lino lisangibwa wano e Goma Namugongo ku ggombolola ya Ssaabasajja Kabaka ey'e Goma.